Hello, everyone. This is Monsef Afker, and thank you so much for joining us in this new call of Your Divine Uniqueness. So happy to have you with us, or whether on the live call or the replay. And also really excited that Sarah Ellingworth is back on the show. She joined us several times before, and like every time, depending on the subject, it's it it's quite inspiring and powerful the way she explains things, because many times like the esoteric aspects of like the spiritual aspects that we talk about many times, they can be difficult to assimilate, and we need time to understand and then to embody those concepts. And what I love about Sarah is the way she explains those in a way that feels very practical and at the same time very empowering. And and also I love how she approached those like beyond the fear agendas, because many aspects they can trigger some kind of fear or victimhood. And really I love the how she approached this in very empowering way. So yeah, really excited that she's back. And for those of you who are new to her, she is a master energy practitioner of the healing arts, intuitive healer, and shadow worker. And the subject today is hidden addictions and entity influence, unlocking the power of the mental body. So yeah, we'll be talking about addictions and beyond the known ones, because many times we can be addicted to things unknowingly, and on the surface they feel like they are just normal things, but many times we can be like running away from our emotional states, or there can be influences like karmic influences or past lives or ancestral inheritance. Uh, so she will be sharing about that. We'll go deep into that subject, and also she will be channeling uh, the Ascended Master Serapis Bey, and she will guide us on a powerful meditation. So that will also include energy clearing. So stay tuned for that. And also, if you want to ask Sarah your questions, so as always, if you are on Zoom, you can raise your hand by pressing React, then raise hand. And if you are on the phone, you can press star 9, and also you can type your questions on the chat boxes on Zoom and on YouTube. And yeah, so with that, Sarah, welcome back to the show. Happy to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I think you covered everything really well in regards to the addictions. And again, it was Spirit who wanted this topic to be brought forward. I was like, are you sure? Yes. And I get it because I feel like there's two sides of this actually. As I was preparing for today's topic and today's podcast, I really felt two sides of this coming through when there was the piece where we can all do the inner work to learn about what our triggers are and what are our hidden attachments and addictions that essentially block us or hinder us on our spiritual growth, our spiritual journey, our healing into self-mastery and ascension. So that's essentially what this is about. But the other part of that that started to come forward was actually the compassion that's required. There's a lot of judgment around addiction, and it can keep us in separation from really looking at ourselves with a level of truth of like, what am I addicted to? Because there's so much judgment around what addiction is, and also to judgment of others in their addiction process. And yeah, I really felt that compassion piece in the judgment starting to come through of ourselves, but of others on this particular topic. And I did want to really note that yes, the most common and most thought of aspects of addiction when we say addiction is, alcohol, drugs, gambling, sex, food, sugar. We now have phone and social media addiction sort of added to that normal state or consideration of addictions. Caffeine is one that's in there, less harmful, but still, we're talking about things where we have no control over, essentially, or we have a compulsive behavior towards, we can't stop doing it. And quite often, addictions are very unconscious, but I'll go into that in a little bit. Yeah, I just wanted to really sort of encapsulate what we're talking about and what's covered. And I sort of just wanted to move past all of the typical and commonly known addictions, and move more into the lesser known addictions. And this is where we can sometimes sort of gloss over our own behavior or have we just lack awareness in how we're showing up in our daily lives or our life experience here. We all have our vices. So again, I really am approaching this with there is no judgment. This is really about self-exploration, doing the inner work, really having that level of self-awareness in what are we leaning on and why, and what is it serving us, so that we can take this as, really ripe material within ourselves to move through the healing process and deepen that into our journey. So some of the I'm going to list them off, and really I ask the audience to keep an open mind of where you do this. Where do you do this in your life? Like, question that on all of the points, because there'll be some on a scale of 1 to 10, you're like, I have done that, I've done that, but it's a 1. It's not really an addiction. But again, that still offers deep value in learning and growth. And then there might be a couple it's like, oh yeah, actually I do that all the time. So we have things like uh, compulsive nostalgia. I really struggle with that word. So constantly living in the past, where life might have been better in the past, or we're constantly rehashing memories. It's living in a state of the past. We can actually become addicted to that pattern, that habit. Relationships are ripe ground. So there's lots of different aspects when it comes to relationships. We've got codependency, we've got different types of attachment, we've got the avoidance, we've got people pleasing, we've got desires for control in relationships, relationship dynamics, manipulation. We've got behaviors such as perfectionism, OCD, compulsive cleaning, compulsive anything really, self-deprecation. We've got the self-loathing, the self-hate, the self-criticism, the negative self-talk. We've got spiritual or religious obsessions, and that can incorporate the spiritual bypassing or fanaticism. I mean, fanaticism about anything, but it can be really evident in spiritual practices. And actually, I see a lot of this through religious programming and conditioning, which sort of can come out in that self-sacrifice, the savior complex, martyrdom, um, and it's quite often it's very deeply ingrained and quite unconscious. We've got things like collecting, hoarding, recycling, and just constantly wanting to save everything, like hold on to all possessions, material matter, even if it's junk. We have behaviors and patterns of self-sabotage. And again, that's like relationships. It's like a myriad of things that can include. We have oversharing, gossiping, we've got addiction to drama. That's a really big one for a lot of people. Fixating on others and obsession and jealousy. Any in that scope, it's really about, again, that fixating on others, making everything about others, even when it comes from good intentions of wanting to fix people. Again, that ties back into the savior complex. We can be consumed, particularly for people who are in some type of, you're a practitioner or a therapist or a healer of some capacity. And a lot of mothers do it as well, where we obsess over children and children's lives, because and that can come up later in life in marriages where we can no longer focus on the kids because they're all off and now it's just us. Like, how will we distract ourselves? Because essentially addiction is distraction. We've got addictions to emotional patterns and behaviors. So we can be addicted to anger and rage. We can be addicted to our grief. We can be addicted to the jealousy. Um, and we can also we can be addicted to levels of consciousness. Like this is, we can be addicted to our victim consciousness. It makes us feel safe. We're not responsible for it. It's not my fault. And the complaining, we can be addicted to complaining. So there's lots of different things in there, aspects of our behavior. And when I say addiction, really it's an attachment that we cannot control. It's a behavior that we have learned. So this is part of what addiction is. It's really, there's different components. And again, I'm taking the spiritual approach here, so I'm not claiming any, in-depth insight onto the physiological component, but the addiction is our inability to control our behavior. It's our choices. That can potentially have harmful consequences, whether it's to ourselves or to others. And it's chronic, it's generally chronic in nature. So we can have this issue over a lifetime or for many, many years. It can get triggered at a certain point. And really, again, my approach is the level of self-awareness, understanding the compassion that we can learn about ourselves through these processes for our healing and spiritual journey and our path of self-mastery. And when we're in our, or when we're coming into that level of self-mastery, then we have mastery of self, our emotions, our thoughts, our belief systems. We are living in a way that we choose to live. Whereas when we're sitting in that space of addiction and attachments, and I'll talk about what creates that, but we're at the mercy of those vices and dependencies. So, and these exist because of things like, so this is where it comes in. Essentially, we know trauma is a big component of addiction. And trauma, we have, again, a huge range. It's a very big landscape of where trauma can come in that affects us in this way. And so, I've read a lot of books and it always refers to childhood trauma. And I think, again, this is an aspect where a lot of people don't, or they, childhood trauma doesn't have to be something really diabolical. Childhood trauma happens through sometimes very small moments, but the impact of the trauma on the consciousness of the child is actually far reaching. So I want to acknowledge we do have childhood trauma, but there's also past life trauma, and that incorporating into the soul trauma has a huge influence on how we show up and what we choose for this lifetime. It also includes karma, our karma. Now, karma isn't a punishment. It's not a negative thing. Karma is just the simple equation of how we give, we receive. It's just a balance of give and take. And in that, we've got our soul lessons as well, what we've chosen to work through and heal and address in this lifetime. And then you put in the personality, and the personality is going to have its certain vices that it's chosen to lean on to use as a catalyst for healing. We've got the entities, and that's a big part of what we're talking about today, the entities, because they really do have a big impact on how we think and feel, which is a very natural part of our ecosystem, but it's not as well known, and it has a really big influence on our behaviors, our addictions, our patterns, in the ways we don't consciously have control over how we're showing up. They have free reign, I want to say, where you are showing up in an unconscious state, they are having a field day with your energy. So we'll go into that in a second. But all of this, everything that I've mentioned, this is all contributing to the void within our being. And the void, when I started working with the void, it was fascinating. It was like this deep, endless pit of nothing. It was like this bankrupt space within us. And I say bankrupt because it was the lack and the limitation. It was a deprivation of the light. And that is the separation from source. When we are connected to source, there is no need for a vice because we are everything, we are whole. So it's the gap within us. This is where it starts to become more spiritual than, physical, or, even out of the, realm of the mental body. So, and even when I do my clearing work, and I've, fluffed off all the entities and gotten rid of all of the things. And then I get into the void and I'm like, lo and behold, there's more because it's like going into that, like that true, when we talk about shadow work, this is where the shadow comes from. This is the shadow. The void is the huge, endless pit of nothing. And it's here that we have our unworthiness, our undeserving, um, our lack of self-belief and self-love, all of the core pieces that make up our light. So this is really the core piece of addiction. And what we're doing with addiction is we want to fill it. We can feel the emptiness of that void. We can feel the self-hate, the loathing, all of the crap, all of the emptiness that's in there, the space that is taken up by the shadow, not the light. We want to fill it. All of the aspects where we think, oh, I'm crap, oh, I'm worthless, I'm nothing, I'm no good, everyone's going to figure this out. And so we pile it because it's too much. It's too much for the human consciousness to feel that level of trauma and that level of grief or that level of desperation, the horror, all of the stuff that's contributed to that opening of the void. We just can't bear it. So then we want to fill it. We want to fill it with all the crap, all the vices, all the things we have access to that momentarily make us feel good. And again, I want to take the emphasis off the um, the more commonly known addictions, because I feel like, again, the judgment piece comes in and goes, oh, well, I'm not that bad. Like, I can get by without having a glass of alcohol for the day. It's not about that. Like, you might not have chosen alcohol as your vice, but you are addicted to drama. And so it's still robbing you of peace. It's still robbing you of personal empowerment. You are still behaving in a way that's creating conflict in your life. That's you in a fight with yourself, essentially, but you're projecting it out into the world. So I feel like sometimes the word addiction may be a heavy-handed word, but I feel like it's the word that's needed to really pierce through the ego and for us to really look at, how are we showing up? What are my vices? What are my behaviors? What are my beliefs that are rooted so deeply in trauma and the void and any level of unworthiness that we have in here, that again is fuel and beautiful right material for our healing journey. So I've just painted a pretty bleak picture. Everyone's cooked. What's the point? um, no, honestly, it's when we come out of, and this is the thing I do want to highlight, the healing journey, the reason there are so many, because, and I've seen this for a long time, on the healing journey, there is so much resistance. And I've been one of the biggest, champions of resistance in some of my big work as well, some of my purpose. I've had mass resistance. Um, and this is, and I think I've said this before here, this is where we have a lot of people who are more comfortable, or there's a bigger desire to get a reading done, like a psychic reading, so that they're told everything's going to be okay, versus actually doing the healing work where they need to lean into their shadow and feel all the hard feelings and actually do the healing work to ensure that everything will work out all right. So this is the part where we're avoiding the shadow. And that will shift when a few things line up. So, one, when the pain of the addiction outweighs the pleasure, you will eventually at some point go, I am so sick of myself. I don't want to feel like this anymore. When I was younger, I smoked. And that actually came out of trauma. And it was fascinating because and I did it for a few years when I was younger, and it got to a point where I found a boundary and I like literally nailed that thing down hard. And instantly I stopped smoking. And I'd wanted to smoke for a long time, but I was addicted. I couldn't stop as much as I wanted to. I couldn't. And I weaned myself off and I got, I was less, I was never a heavy smoker, but I smoked less and less and less, but I just couldn't fully kick it. And then I had this instance or this circumstance came up, and I got really angry actually, and I had to defend myself because the person was speaking to me. It came from a space of love and protection, but it actually was just really horrible and detrimental to my mental and emotional state at that time. And I just went, fuck off. Really, I was like, if you can't speak to me with respect or kindness or in a way that is supporting and loving, I don't want to hear it because I don't deserve anything less than that. And literally from that day onwards, and I'm not even exaggerating, I stopped smoking because I found that space within me that was like, I found a level of self-love in that moment to get clear in my boundary. And I went, enough. And it was that situation and those people that were connected to that experience that was part of the trauma that created that habit in the first place. I'm not saying everyone will have the same experience. That was my experience that I'm sharing, but it again is highlighting like I reached a level of self-love in that moment. I came through for myself and it just without even any effort. And it was like a miracle to me at that time because I couldn't have done that beforehand. So I was ready. I was ready to take ownership of myself. And that's the next piece. When we are ready to take responsibility for ourselves, when we're ready to take responsibility for our behavior and our shadow aspects, that's when the real change actually starts to happen. So, and this can be a level of, I would say soul maturity, but like emotional maturity as well. Again, when you're sitting in your stuff for long enough and you're like, enough, I've had enough of myself. I don't want to feel this way anymore. I want to do something about it. And so I will go into later some of the things we can do to start nudging ourselves in the right direction. And it takes time. But there has to be that genuine desire. And that genuine desire means we have the courage, the strength, the resilience to continue. And that's again with my smoking story. I didn't. I tried and I failed. I tried and I failed. I tried and I failed. It was the same. I had the same approach with learning to meditate. For years, I tried to meditate and I couldn't, so I stopped trying. And then eventually, when I got so sick of myself, I was enough. That was the point where I was just so incredibly unhappy. I I was sick of myself, and so I went and found some new avenues and different things, and I finally got some traction, and it happened just like that. Again, in one moment, that shifted everything, and I actually pivoted into a new direction. So when we are ready to take responsibility for ourselves, that is when the courage will naturally come. The shift will happen. It's like that, you're holding and you're holding and you're holding all of this weight, and all of a sudden it just vanishes and the road forward starts to lighten up. And I know I'm making it sound a little bit mystical, but it really is when we actually let go of the resistance within ourselves, when we desire for something better, and then letting go of the resistance. And the ego is a powerful protector in keeping us in those stuck states because it's familiar territory. It knows what to expect. It knows how to handle itself and the potential threats. It knows how to keep you safe within that space, even if it is unhealthy. So there is no way of pushing through this. Really, it takes a level of patience and being present. And that's where the self-awareness comes in, having an awareness of what you're doing. So even if you do have an unhealthy habit or a behavior that you don't like, but you can't control, when you do it with more awareness, you start to push it's like you push the power into your court just a little bit by a little bit with every thought, with every interaction, with every choice you make. I remember, so for me, I've had a long history of having an unhealthy relationship with food. And I remember, so when I really started to lean into it, actually it got worse. But that's because I was shining a spotlight on it. And I remember once I started showing up with more awareness, I would go into the supermarket. I would go into, I was like, I had amnesia. And then I'd come out with all these things that I just didn't want. I was like, what happened? I had no control. And I got so annoyed with myself. Whereas actually, and so I was reflecting on this because today I was like, oh, that would be nice. I cannot for the life of me buy any crap food because I just can't. Like I've done so much work on it now that even my subconsciousness is like, we're not touching that. And so I'm like, oh, but it would be good. Like it would be nice. I'll just get a little one. We're not touching it. So I was like, oh, go me. And I left without it. So again, I'm sharing it can be done, but it is very hard when our subconscious programming for all of the things we've just talked about with the trauma, the void, past life, personality, entities, when all of that is against you, it is hard. Like, I'm not going to lie. When I was sort of learning all about this and pulling all the pieces together, I was like, good Lord, humans are up against it. We got no chance. So you do. It's just, it takes time and it takes a willingness, really. But as I was saying, and this is advice I give to a lot of people who are wanting to create deep, long-lasting change, is that you can't force yourself. Because even if you do try to create a habit that hasn't had the undertone or the undercurrent shifted, it's just going to revert back. And then we pile all the shame and the guilt and the self-hate and all of that judgment we pile on ourselves because we failed again. So it's like just it's okay. Let's just say chocolate your things. I know chocolate is a big one. If you can't help but eat chocolate, that's your thing. Every day you've got to eat chocolate, or the volume of chocolate that you eat, you can't control it. And then you have, you do your binge, and then you've got all the guilt and the shame again. It's like, it's okay. When you do it again, do it with awareness. Really know what you are choosing. Be present with yourself when you're choosing it. And even in doing that, it has the capacity to decrease how much you have or how often you have it. And you might still have it often, but you just have less of it. You do it with less judgment. You start to develop compassion for yourself. And then you actually become curious, like, why am I doing this? Where is this coming from? Why chocolate? That's one of the things I had to do. I was like, why do I have to have that? Like, what is it about that? Is if it's food, what is it about the texture of the food? What is it about the flavor of the food? If it's a behavior, what do I get when I behave like that? The responses that I get from others, how does that make me feel? Why am I doing this? So understanding the habit, understanding the addiction, and what is your pattern, like what's within you that is needing this behavior? What is it within you that's needing this vice? That is part of the shadow work to understanding it. It decreases the power. Every time you learn a new aspect of this addiction within yourself, you are decreasing the power without the push. You are not pushing yourself to shift, change, do anything. You are just developing awareness. Now, all of this, I do want to say, is going to contribute to how much food is available to the entities that are feeding off you. Because when you are showing up unconsciously, they have free reign. Again, I think I've highlighted like your energy is prime real estate, and it's moving, it's happening, it's changing, it's shifting, it's doing all sorts of things whether you know it or not. So these entities, when you're showing up with a lack of awareness of your energy and how it's moving through you, what you're doing with your mental energy, with your emotional energy, with your physical energy, when you don't have any scope, control, awareness of that, they have free reign. It's like they're just camping out on your land, feeding off the land. Oh, they're like, oh, we need to grow some more tomatoes. Quick, pump up the tomato button, and they trigger you for more of whatever creates tomatoes within them. So anger is a really good one for this because um, they will do things to trigger that emotional response within you. Now, if you've got a habit, a pattern, an addiction to anger, and again, you should be looking at why, like what are you getting out of the anger? But it's there. It's there. You've got anger and you are very easy to trigger. So you're walking through the lounge room and they're going to shimmy your energy. Oh, you whack your toe and you get really angry. That didn't happen just by accident. I can guarantee you entities contributed to that because it generated anger within you. More food for them, yummy tomatoes, if that's their thing. um, for me, even like now, because like again, entities are part of our ecosystem. I'm very aware of when they're around or when they try to get me with fear, but it just doesn't work. I'm like, good try, guys. Bye bye. Like and actually a couple of times over the last few years, they've actually gotten me really good. Um, but that was a very physical environment and they just had a field day. So I won't go into the details, but there was a lot of fear. But it was all orchestrated by entities in a very real way. So now I have much more scope to generate energy that actually shifts them out, and that thought releases. They cannot actually attach into my emotional body because they just don't have the space. I'm claiming all of my emotional energy. I own it. Even when it is a lower vibrational energy, I own it. I clear them. I process why I felt that, what it was, release it, do the work, shift into something more positive. How am I learning from this? I'll do that daily because that's how I choose to show up in life. And also, I'm dedicated and committed to self mastery. That doesn't mean I'm perfect, by the way. I do want to highlight no one is expecting perfection from anyone. Like, we are perfectly imperfect. But when you show up with conscious awareness of what you are thinking and what you are feeling and how you are behaving, you give entities less access, less scope, less potential. Doesn't mean a fly can't come in and fly around you and try to, it's like, go away. It just has no capacity to influence you in any way. So, because entities are part of our ecosystem, and there's lots of different types of entities, but we're really talking about focusing on the types. Let's just, consider them to be like flies. Yes, they can. I can hear people like, what about the demons? Yes, you can have demonic beings. And when we are talking about addictions, they are a very, they are very much connected to addictions because you have no control. This is an aspect that's very unconscious that you cannot control. So, and demonic beings can come through in past lives. They can be connected to your karma. They can very much be connected to trauma. They're a big one for trauma. And also, the void, because again, they've got free reign. So anything can come in through the void. Um, let's not just scare anyone again. Like, that's why I just refer to them as entities that we will include in the clearing, and you can replicate or repeat or copy on your own in your own meditation, um, to manage how entities affect you or influence you or how much scope they have over you. Um, I'll just check in with myself. Sorry, I go on these tangents and I just go, hang on, Seth.
Hi. Yeah, thank you very much. That was quite inspiring because, like you mentioned, many times we are not even aware of the addiction. Like we know what we did. It's after we do it, and then there is the guilt coming up and all of this. And I love that you mentioned the awareness. We can start with that because it really helps us over time to realize what we are doing beforehand. But yeah, like you said, it can take some time and some practice, but it can be very, very helpful. Um, yeah, thank you for that. And uh, do you feel it's the right time for the meditation, or would like to share more about the subject?
No, we probably could actually. The only other topic, or aspect
Okay.
of it that I really wanted to
Yeah.
mention was the boundary. So moving into more of the healing process around addictions, because, and I think I mentioned before, like when I found in that moment when I got really triggered by what was coming at me, and I just went, hold up, like, no. And I found this really strong boundary, and because that was the source of my smoking, it just evaporated, and that was because of a boundary. So when we start to value ourselves, when we start to develop that level of self-love, self-appreciation, recognizing our value, our worthiness, and recognizing ourselves as a divine being, we actually, when that starts to grow and become stronger and more present in our consciousness, we actually, what happens is we start to become protective of our energy. And again, that comes into the piece of, protecting our energy against the entities or other people's energy. We live in a sea of energy, so we're constantly exposed to different energies. You go to the supermarket and you've got an array of things that are, perpetrating, or not perpetrating, penetrating your energy. Um, But when it comes to addictions and behaviors and how we were previously unconsciously showing up, what happens is we start to become protective of our energy. We become protective of our thoughts and our feelings and the quality of our energy. We want to fill our void with light. Our light is coming back into connection with our oneness and divinity and recognizing that that's who we are as a person. So when something, whether it's a circumstance or a person or a behavior, starts to push up on that, this is one of the first aspects when you can recognize you're like, no, 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 I'm worthy of more. I'm worthy of a better choice. I want my peace. You become protective of your energy that is contained with peace and love and compassion. So these are one of the things that we are aiming for. It's almost like addiction, self-sabotage, self-hate, self-loathing, abuse. Like really, these are all very much connected when it comes to unconscious behaviors that have a negative or harmful consequence to ourselves and to others. So when it comes to protecting or abusing, you can start to do this with your conscious thoughts. Is this choice protecting my energy or is it abusing my energy? And you might go, it's abusing, but I'm still going to do it. That's totally fine. Try not to judge yourself in that moment because that is actually growth. You have consciously shown up in a moment to recognize your behavior and recognize how you are showing up in life and how you are relating to yourself and how you are relating to the world. And that is the step in the right direction to keep exploring that. So keep questioning, is this abusing me or is this protecting me, my energy? Is this helping me or is this hurting me? And if the answer is no, it's hurting, again, I want to say that's okay. It is okay because you will do it, but you might do it less. And that's the opportunity that you are offering yourself. Because change like this, deep seated addictions and attachments and trauma, it won't go away overnight. Would love to say you get one healing and you're done. We don't work like that. We are very multi-faceted humans. We have lots and lots of dimensions and layers to our being, and it takes time, consistency. So each time you come up against this thing and you question yourself and you're like, yep, it's going to hurt, but I'm going to do it anyway. And then that can create, you have a choice even in that. Then you can go into the self deprecation and shame and judgment, or you can have compassion for yourself and go, it's okay. Have it, it's okay. Because that is growing strength again in the right direction. Because eventually be like, you know what, it's okay. You actually don't need it. You can have it if you want it, but you don't need it. I'll have it later. I'll save it for later. Later comes. I'll probably do it tomorrow. So this is how you are managing yourself. You're parenting yourself with love and compassion, with self-awareness in how you are showing up in your choices and your behaviors. So it snowballs, it just continues. So I did just want to mention that piece in how we can work through some of these behaviors. And again, I do want to highlight going back to the start where we made a big list and it wasn't a complete list of all the ways we can show up in life with addictions and attachments. That can include learned behaviors, but any aspect where we are showing up where we cannot control. Think of it like that. Where was I going with that? Oh, sorry. There's a few things popping in. Go back to Sorry, there's a few things coming in at the moment, a few different avenues. I'm just going to look at what they are. We've got a bit of a shuffling. We've got Serapis Bey coming in. Can I just finish what I was saying? I feel like everything's just gone, right, let's go. And I'm like, wait, I was in the middle of, they've just taken it away. I don't know. I am trying really hard to get it back. It's gone. Anyway, we shall move on. So let's move into the clearing piece. If it's meant to come back, it'll come back. Um, Serapis Bey is just coming front and center. So Serapis Bey is an ascended master who is brilliant to work with for anything health, detox. He has an extensive list of things that he can help, particularly with the physicality. But he is very much about clearing your whole being again for your path of self-mastery and ascension. That's essentially what it is. And I remember the first time I met him, he woke me up at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I just got this massive download. And there was just so much beautiful yellow light. Like I associate him with yellow because that was just pouring through. Um, and I remember where I was exactly, but I don't remember what was happening at the time, but I do remember, and I was like, who are you? I actually didn't really know. I knew him, like I could feel his energy and I knew his name like, was coming through, but I didn't actually really know much about him. And I definitely have done a lot of work with him over the years when it comes to detoxing and working on health and changing my relationship to food and the quitting smoking and all the things he's amazing for. And he's not the only one that can help in this respect. When we're talking about addictions, and the shadow work, so Carly Ma is an amazing one to work with as well when we're going head to head with shadow on a deeper unconscious level of our being. And JC is another one who shows up in a very big way, Mother Mary too, and they're all coming in now, and Mary Magdalene as well. So, but today we're going to more consciously work with Serapis Bey, but we've got all of the Ascended Masters showing up for today's healing. Now, what we can do is I would put it to everyone who's watching live and on the replay to think of something that you really struggle with. And it could be a behavior, it could be a habit, it could be a vice. It might be your phone, or it could be that you feel like you're always quick to anger. You're always very, you have a bit of a temper that you just can't control. It could be as simple as, you just want to cut down on the coffee, how much coffee you drink because you feel like it is hurting your health. It could be anything, whatever you feel is something that you really struggle with on a daily basis in the way you are showing up, in how you are consuming. So consuming emotions, consuming thoughts, what you consume. It might be music or TV or anything. So hold the intention, and really just create some space for that to come forward within all levels of your being. And we're not here to fully conquer the how and the why for everyone. It will pretty much include trauma. It will include all the things: trauma, the void, entities, personality, karma. Just let all of that be there. This is an aspect of your being that you have chosen to show up with for your healing and learning. And focus on your breath. So as you bring that forward, just taking a long, slow, deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Inhaling into your belly, really feel your belly rise. So you want to move past the chest. We want to move into that deep diaphragmatic breathing into the belly. Push your belly out if you need to. And then a big exhale out through the mouth. Almost like a sigh of relief. Just feel that pressure coming out of your mouth. Inhaling through the nose, feel the belly rise. And if you can, just have a gentle pause at the top and the bottom of each breath before you have your big exhalation. And just allow your body to become heavier and heavier with every breath you take. As you do that, I'm going to bring in the white flame. Right, more intense, more intense, more intense. We have Serapis Bey coming in, amplifying that white flame. And he's highlighting all of he's actually bringing in the karmic board. So there's going to be a big karmic healing. Is there? So with the karmic and the judgment. So what I want you to do is feel into the compassion. It's like it's okay having compassion for yourself in all the ways you have made choices that have hurt you, held you back, limited you in any way, that have had a negative consequence. And I want you to, if you can, have compassion for anyone or anything that has contributed to this becoming a thing for you. So there may be the ancestral lineage coming forward now. We've got Mother Mary on the ancestral lines. Who is that? Bringing in the karmic flame. Brighter, 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 more intense, more intense, more intense. All contracts, vows, and agreements. All karmic contracts, vows, and agreements. All karmic attachments, cords, attachments, and addictions. Thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. Disintegrate, eliminate, expel it into the light flame. More intense, more intense, more intense. Brighter, 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 brighter. So we actually have JC within the flame. We have Serapis Bey holding the space. JC within the flame, brighter, 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 all coding. And all cellular trauma, DNA, it's moving through the bones, lighting up the brain, all neural pathways of cords, attachments, and addictions, including karma, soul trauma, cellular trauma, release, 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 release. There's the imprint through the water of the brain, the fluid. Now you are being invited to have compassion for all beings on the planet with addiction in all ways where you have ever judged another. And now, if you have, this may not be for everybody, but if you have the capacity to have compassion for all levels of time, space, all lifetimes, in all ways where you may have shown up that has contributed to another's addiction, that has where you have indulged in the shadow aspect that has caused pain for another or suffering for another. If you have the capacity for that, I want you to lean into it. It's having compassion for yourself for how you have hurt others or where you have contributed to someone else hurting themselves. Release, 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 including all implants, devices, mechanisms, activators through the brain, the nervous system. And now I want you to allow, I'm just going to amplify that white flame, brighter, 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 brighter. Feel yourself within this flame. Feel it within your feet, your legs, your torso, your skin, all of the energy around you. And it's like a raging fire. This raging fire permeating through every level of your being, every cell of your body, breathing this white flame in. And I want you to allow all negative thoughts and feelings, all self-hatred, self-loathing, in all ways you have consciously or unconsciously shown up in life with these vices, behaviors, patterns, all of these addictions. And you may have anger. There's a lot of anger there that you even have them, a lot of frustration and anger. So allow that anger to come forward. Allow the grief, allow the suffering, the frustration of the suffering. You may have had physical aspects that you feel like you can't break. You may feel like you've been a victim of someone else's behavior that you just can't get out from. All of that is part of addiction to those behaviors, that living life in that way. And I want you to have compassion for yourself, but allow any shadow feelings, any hard feelings, any negative or lower vibrational thoughts, feelings, emotions, let it all come forward. Like scream it into the flame if you need to. including all thought entities, elementals, all dark forces, all demonic beings hooking into, feeding off, attached to, or contracts with spells and agreements, keeping them embedded within the beings of addiction, including all the shame, the guilt, the self-loathing, the self-betrayal, disintegrate into the light flame now. Now, if you can, I want you to feel into the child within you, the child that you were, whatever age presents. You may be a baby, you may be a toddler, you may be preschool, you may even be a teenager. Allow the age that is connected to this trauma, connected to this habit, this addiction, let that child within you come forward that has been sitting in this, that has been holding onto it, that has been part of that unconscious attachment to whatever the feeling is you are getting from it. And I want you to just take a moment to be present with this child within you that has been sitting in this space of suffering and the helplessness. And whatever aspect of this child that feels unloved, unsafe, unheard, unseen. Lighting up the throat, all cords, attachments, and addictions to these frequencies, addictions, unconscious, consciously, subconsciously, disintegrate, eliminate, expel. And I want you to just shower this child with love, understanding, compassion. Again, what would you say to another who was really struggling, who wanted to choose something different but was struggling? It's an understanding of why, it's the compassion of why this behavior was here. It actually was serving, it was helping. You were receiving in whatever way you both were. But now you are prepared to love yourself enough that it closes the gap. You no longer need this vice behavior, this thing, this aspect of your being to feel or to not feel, because you are taking responsibility for your experience. And all of it is okay. All of the messiness is okay. All of the challenge is okay. The addiction itself is okay. It's part of the learning. It is part of how you have chosen to learn, whether you're addicted to emotions, you might be addicted to hating someone. That kept you safe. That kept you in the victim consciousness. You didn't have to take responsibility for how you showed up in this particular lifetime, or the choices your soul has made for you to learn through. It is your responsibility to love this child, for them to be seen and heard and loved by you. All cords to the underworld, the lower worlds, all holes through there. Holes, tears, rips, damage, disintegrate, eliminate, expel. And I want you to give this child a huge hug. Just hold them so tightly. If they will let you, of course. Sometimes they don't. It may just be that you just need to look them in the eyes and let your soul speak to them. Let them feel your love. And when you're ready, just bringing them, it's like a hug into the heart. Allow them to come back into your heart. into the safety of the light of your heart. And even if you feel like you struggle with light in your heart, it is there whether you consciously know it or not. So just trust that they are being held in the light of your heart. And when you're ready, I want you to bring your awareness to your mental body. Now, your mental body, it's almost like a ball of light. It can be an egg shape, the same size as your auric field. And you don't have to, if you can't sense it or feel it, don't worry, you just intend. And your intention can be my mental body. And just bring your awareness to the space all around you and within you. Now, I want you to visualize a soft lemon color, a soft lemon pastel light permeating through your whole mental body. We're going to thicken that up around the peripheral. Disintegrate, eliminate, expel all karmic holes, tears, rips, damage. Disintegrate, eliminate, expel, heal, cell, repair. All levels to the mental body. And I want you to command strengthen. You are strengthening your mental body. Strengthen, strengthen, stronger, stronger, stronger. Whatever feels right for you. More vibrant, brighter. And feel that light becoming stronger and brighter. Serapis Bey and who is it? Isis and Green Tara are working on the coding of the mental body to repair all trauma. All damage through the mental body, disintegrate, eliminate, expel, brighter, 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 more intense, more intense, more intense, more intense, more intense. Can we have a look at the samskaras? Is there all samskaras through the mental body of self-depreciation, deprecation? All samskaras of self-loathing, self-hate, avoidance, learning, healing through the vices, the addictions. Within the mental body, release, 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 release. I want you to take a few big deep breaths here. Again, you're breathing out relief on the exhalation. It can just be a really nice big exhale. Feel your whole body being able to rest, release any tension, any tightness in any capacity that you've been holding. Even when it's unconscious, it can be an unconscious holding. And choose to let it go. Spinning that out. Okay, now I want you to do the same again with your emotional body. So feeling into this ball of light all around you with this very soft pink pastel light. Breathing in this pink pastel light all around you through within your body, all through your body and all around you. Brighter, 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 bringing in the electric violet light, bringing in the light rain. Can we thin that out, disintegrate, eliminate, expel all negative, low vibrational, emotional frequencies, all attachments and addictions to emotional energies, the pattern, implants, devices, mechanisms, activators through the emotional body. Amplifying the karmic flame, brighter, 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 more intense, more intense, more intense. So they're just highlighting the emotional connection to the physical body right now. So I want you to stay with your breath, keep breathing this pink light. And again, just holding space for compassion and awareness for how you've been showing up without the judgment, without the self-loathing. All is well. Everything has been part of your journey. Everything that you have experienced so far has been part of the way you've chosen to learn about yourself. So just having compassion, having gratitude for the growth, the awareness that you have now, and the awareness that continues to unfold with every thought, with every feeling that you have, just feeling just gratitude and the love for that opportunity, the growth, the learning, the insight, the expansion of consciousness, all the way through, all the way through, all the way through, out, out. Heal, seal, repair all damaged tears, ripped holes, wounding, all implants, devices, mechanisms, and activators through the emotional body. So they're doing some work on the liver and the pancreas, the gallbladder, intestines, the digestive system, the esophagus, all of the main organs are getting a workup, including the brain. We've got reptilians coming in, releasing. Release, 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 release.
Sarah, you are muted.
So just stay with your breath. Your emotional body's getting a really nice deep clean at the moment. And I want you to, if you can, start to lean into those feelings or the sense of freedom. Freedom from these addictions, freedom from these behaviors, freedom from these learned ways of being. Joy in the way you now show up with full consciousness in your choices. It doesn't matter if you get it right or wrong. There's no right or wrong. It's just choices that we make in any given moment. But you are just so grateful and so happy that you are showing up with more awareness, with a higher frequency in your consciousness that is allowing you to see more of yourself, see more of life, see more of the way you are showing up. Feeling inches of freedom within your body, freedom within your mind and your emotions, of how you choose to live, how you choose to respond to life. Show me the back heart. So I've got some congestion through the back heart that might get that broken down. All cause attachments and addictions to suffering, learning through struggle, pain, grief. Disintegrate, eliminate, expel the unworthiness, the attachments to addictions, all cause attachments and addictions to the vices nominated. And with your positive emotions, I want you to feel within the core of your being, your void is full of light. You are coming back into your oneness. You are accepting that you are a divine being. Whether your mind consciously understands that or not, it doesn't matter. You are feeling it. You are feeling into your divinity. You are feeling into your light. Breathe your light through every level of your being. You are being supported in this very moment by the divine to go deeper and deeper into this process. Beautiful. That's good. Feeling with that conscious alignment, you are feeling the joy, the love, the gratitude for this elevation, for this expanded awareness, this up-leveling in your consciousness, feeling proud of yourself for your ability to step up into the truth of who you are in a more conscious way. You are completely held, you are loved, you are protected, you are adored, you are the miracle. Now, if that stirs up emotion or you're feeling triggered, that's perfectly fine. That light is going to permeate even deeper and deeper and deeper through that wounding. Beautiful. Okay, so when you've got a moment now, I want you to feel into what your vice was, feeling into what it was that you were working on in the beginning, and just within yourself, just feeling into like 1 out of 10, what is the intensity of that now? Does it feel really far away? Or does it feel quite close still? It's okay if it does. Again, it takes time and consistent effort. But you're having an awareness, you are inviting awareness into your relationship with this aspect of your being, this vice, this behavior, whatever the addiction was. You are getting to know it on a deeper level. You are understanding it. You are feeling into it. What does this feel like? When it's strong, what does it feel like? When it's weak, what does it feel like? This helps you understand the landscape of your inner being so that you know how to manage it when you get triggered. And again, just taking a moment to have gratitude for yourself, gratitude for your awareness, compassion for this vice or this aspect being there without judgment. This is how you have chosen to learn about yourself. And that's perfectly, that's normal. So just bringing your awareness back to your body, taking a few big, slow, deep breaths in. You're being showered, cocooned in that golden light. And when you're ready, just coming back to the group. How are you feeling?
Yeah. Um, Good. I mean, it decreased because it was quite strong at some point,
Mhm.
and also it was like at the same time coming like new ideas, like alternatives that really helps to calm down. So it was more like some kind of inspiration happening at the same time. So
Beautiful.
yeah,
So really tapping into like that's your intuition, that's your higher consciousness, like showing you the path forward of how to navigate it in a healthy way. And yeah, everyone's going to have a different experience, and sometimes it can come in waves. I think one of the biggest things I've experienced, and I've had a lot of feedback from clients, it's like when I'm going head to head with something, and this happens a lot with addictions, it gets worse. And that's because we're putting a spotlight on it. All of a sudden, everything's lit up about this thing, and it's like, oh. So it can actually feel really unnerving depending on, the strength of the addiction and how deep it is within us. And sometimes I have had to like tools down, I'm walking away, I cannot handle the intensity of this, and I've had to stop. But then I go back to it um, and I go back with a different perspective, or I may have done some different in a reflection, I'm looking at it differently. I've gained maybe more tools, or I've got a different approach, and then I really commit to it. Then I know what to expect because I know it's going to roar back at me. So I go in prepared for the roar and holding space for the roar. And you just keep doing that. And there is so much to learn about ourselves through our self-mastery and ascension process. Like this is how we learn, this is how we can really clear all the clutter, all the crap, all the stuff that wasn't even ours. This is the piece of, ancestral and social conditioning and trauma, whether it's ours or someone else's. And this was one of my biggest drivers was like, if this is not mine, it has to leave. I do not want it. And yeah, I'll take responsibility for me, but everything else has got to go. So that was why I really, sort of went hard on the healing stuff. I do want to, just before we do some questions, I do want to share some resources that were hugely beneficial for me. And this first one is great in having an understanding of how addiction can play a part in our healing and why our soul would choose it. Because a lot of the time, particularly when we're coming out of victim consciousness, but this is the first thing people say, what would I choose this for myself? Like, you want me to take responsible for this? This is ridiculous. No one would choose this. Read this book. So the book is called The Afterlife of Billy Fingers. and I love it. And I've given it to so many clients, and there's so much to gain out of this book. But one of the things I loved was the insight and compassion that I was able to access, understanding how addiction works on a soul level and self-mastery and just ways you would never have even thought about it. And it's actually a true story. It was written by a woman who began channeling her brother when he passed over, and her brother is Billy Fingers, and he was the addict. So much, like, more than just what I'm giving you here, but this book is phenomenal. So that one was great for, again, the piece that was really flagging before we started was the compassion and the judgment around addiction. And we can have that, we do that a lot on ourselves, but we also hold that for other people. And I actually loved in the clearing, they were like, having compassion for yourself where you have shown up as the person who contributed to someone else's suffering. And I was like, that's fascinating. We're talking about self-inflicted pain here. That's what addiction is. So where have we contributed to someone else's self-addiction and pain? And this is where sometimes we don't realize, like, enabling people is actually prolonging their suffering because we're not allowing them to hit rock bottom. And we too need to hit rock bottom within ourselves and how we're showing up with some of our unhealthy behaviors. So there's that one. And the other one that I really wanted to give mention to, if someone's looking for a resource to help you work through trauma and understanding trauma and how it can show up in addictions, I really love this book. So this is How to Do the Work by Dr. Nicola LaPera. So she's very big on social media. She's got a huge following. She's brilliant at what she does, and it's a workbook, essentially quite a thick workbook on how to work through some of our shadow aspects. If you're trying to work through some addictions or shadow work, this is a great one for that as well. So I just wanted to share those resources. If anyone was looking for some quality, reputable resources, I would highly recommend those too.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Very grateful to you. And also we have, I want to read the feedback about the meditation. First, Ria, Sarah Monsef, gratitude for this beautiful clearing. There was a body sensation around stomach and solar plexus and lower back area. The tips to compassionately moving away from addiction was informative.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Ria. And Kim, thank you so much. It's helpful to understand that any addiction has a thread that leads us back to an issue we need to clear. Beautiful. So yeah, we will take questions in a couple of minutes. So as a reminder, you can raise your hand by pressing react or reaction on Zoom. Then you click on raise hand. And also you can type your questions on the chat boxes on Zoom and YouTube. And before that, Sarah, I would love if you can tell us, because you are offering one-on-one session to our audience. It's 30 minutes one-on-one session, along with I Am Divinity, subliminal meditation. And I would love if you can tell us about those. And I invite everyone to visit the link yourdivineuniqueness.com/Sarah11, yourdivineuniqueness.com/Sarah and number 11, SARAH and number 11, 11. And also you can click on the special offer button, which is on the live events page, later on the replay page. The link also on YouTube video description, and I will put the link on the chat boxes on Zoom and on YouTube. So yeah, Sarah, I would love if you can tell us about this package.
Yeah. So the one-on-one session is a 30-minute session. So it's a really good opportunity. If you've got one thing in particular, there's a form to complete that sort of gives some insight around what you would like to achieve or work on in the session. And we can just really spend the good solid half an hour working on the frequencies that you are dealing with or the issue that you're working on. So it's a very affordable way of sort of getting a really specific or targeted approach to an issue that you're working on. So the work that I do it's literally different every session. It's hard to sort of pinpoint, but really we're working on what are the frequencies that you're holding on and clearing those frequencies within the mental, emotional, and physical body, but looking at, again, where there's interferences or we can have knots, contracts. We can have lots of things within our system that's keeping us stuck in those habits and patterns. So we really go to the source of like, where is this coming from? Is it ancestral? It's never just one thing, I want to say. Like, you're going to have a combination of, we just highlighted in the session how much humans are up against it with energetically with all of their stuff and the learning and the things that they come in with. So it's, sifting through all of that, but really trying to get to the core. And quite often there can be external interferences that contribute to that. So it's getting rid of those frequencies that creates more freedom within yourself to, again, claim your power and take responsibility for what's you, and then understanding how we're showing up in those equations and what can we do differently. So the work that I do is always channeled. There's always homework, there's guidance, I've had a lot of feedback that, the sessions are great for finding blind spots where we just either weren't looking or weren't aware of. Again, it's making the unconscious conscious in how we're showing up. And so that gives us more power and scope to do things differently or to make a change or understand on a deeper level with compassion how we're showing up to do something different. But you've got the healing process, like the actual clearing of energy within your being that helps sort of fast track that process as well. So all the sessions are recorded. You get the recording to do repeat the session as often as you want to, which I would highly recommend. And of course, I always give homework. That's not me, that's divine. But that is the way I work. So that's the one-on-one session. It's a 30-minute session, so it's a little bit more affordable. And then the meditation that you receive is actually a subliminal meditation, and that is the I Am Divinity. It's actually not available on the website yet, so this is really exclusive for this particular audience. And this is like what we talked about in today, bringing more light into the void of your being. It's a tool that you can use to help the subconsciousness with any resistance in accepting that you're a being of divinity, that you are a being of creation. You are creation. So because I noticed that I had resistance there, and I was like, well, I've got resistance, then most other people are gonna have resistance. And we do. So if we didn't, we'd be living very different lives. So, and that's fine. It's what we've come here to achieve. So this was a really powerful tool that has done a lot for me, but I've also seen it do a lot for clients as well, where it's really helped people get closer into that alignment of their divinity. It actually is amazing for manifesting because, again, you're getting into alignment of your source. But yeah, the biggest thing is that it actually fills that void with light. It helps you develop and build your self-value, your self-esteem, your self-love. Again, all the things that we want to feel, to be more protective of our energy, to have more power of our energy, and to show up in a more conscious way. So that is a theta brainwave, I think. So it's just a really beautiful, relaxing. It's great for sleep. I love that particular track for sleep, with the subliminal track. So you don't hear the affirmations, but I would recommend you do regularly either print them or put them up so that you can consciously connect into that. Some people say it's like you shouldn't consciously connect into subliminals, but really for me, the way I use subliminals is that what we're consciously trying to align to through our healing work, we are getting supported subconsciously with the subliminals, and it actually brings it together. When you feel into the truth of these affirmations and these statements, it helps it anchor into all levels of your consciousness so that you can emanate and glow in that alignment. That's really the purpose of them. So yeah, I would recommend you print the affirmations off and read them regularly or feel into that truth when you're doing the meditation itself. So I think that's everything in the offering. I don't think, did I forget anything?
No, that was all. So thank you.
Cool.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Very grateful to you, as always, for offering your work, your time to our audience. So yeah, really honored to share your work with here on the show. And yeah, so again, everyone, you can sign up for the meditation and receive the subliminal meditation I Am Divinity on the link yourdivineuniqueness.com/Sarah11, yourdivineuniqueness.com/Sarah and number 11, SARAH 11. or you can click on the special offer button, which is on the live events page, later on the replay page, the link on YouTube video description, and the chat boxes. All right, so we have Tatiana raising her hand. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you for taking my call. Thank you so much for the process. It was very powerful. My addiction is to victimhood, and my main issue is that I took on the vow of victimhood in many lifetimes. So it's basically so strong that I was not able to let go of it by myself. So I need your help on that. And also I have vow of self-destruction, self-sacrifice, self-hatred, self-torture, and so on. And during the process, I saw a demon choking me, and I see this demon as a black spider, and he is also responsible for my death at birth. I was choked by the umbilical cord during the birth process. And I also see him under the hospital where I was born, and he is also all over my house. I see spiders all over, all over the place. So please help me let go of him and anything that is triggering his attacks.
Yep. Yeah, spiders is it's fascinating. They use spiders a lot. They've tried it on me before too, but it doesn't work. And I've reconciled my relationship to spiders and snakes. So when I see them, I'm like, I just have compassion and it's a beautiful being of God. So it takes time, I want to say, coming out of victim consciousness, it's one of the hardest, it is literally one of the hardest levels of consciousness to break free from. And even, for me working with clients who've, sort of been up to their eyeballs in victim consciousness, it's a hard one to break through and break free from. And it can take time because it really generates strength of the soul to essentially take responsibility for its learning and the choices that have been created for the learning in this lifetime. Victim consciousness is very much about the blame is on someone else. The creation was on someone else. All of the power and control was on someone else. So, I would say gentle steps in moving forward. And this is where, when we're understanding how it's serving us, we can start to develop awareness in how it's showing up and what are we gaining from it. Even as I say that, I'm like, even that would be hard for victim consciousness. I totally get it. I have nothing but compassion for it. And I know many people who, are probably not going to break that spell of victim consciousness in this lifetime, but their learning is still there. They're not actually, haven't gone without learning. So I know we've talked before, and there's lots of tools you can be using. It's almost like even when you don't believe it, do it anyway. It's a little bit of that. So, with your home environment, visualize, sense, feel like the light of God through the walls, the windows, and it's just blasting. Like it's just blasting that divine light. You can put on music of like the frequency of Om, or there's other different particular chants for protection and elevating the frequency of divinity. Burning, frankincense or clearing things. You can actually get a clearing done on the house as well if you wanted to. But there's things that you can do with it. Even today's healing meditation that we did, where you're strengthening your mental and emotional bodies every day. You're doing your, if you got the divinity meditation and you listen to that repetitively every day and you choose to feel. This is the thing. When we're coming out of victim consciousness, we are taking responsibility and choosing how we are showing up in the thoughts and feelings that we are having. So when someone comes along and says, you're an asshole, and you're like, oh God, and you have this really blown out reaction, you're choosing to show up with that outblown reaction. You can choose how you want to show up in response. Is their business. Your behavior is yours. So again, I totally understand how hard that can be sometimes, particularly when you've got the weight of all of your stuff behind you, pushing you, you've got the entities triggering you. So It is consistent effort at this point, even if it's small, and you will see a difference over time. Like there's so much free resources that are available. And I know that you do all of the podcasts. Start to put into practice the things that you do, even if you don't believe that they work. Your intention of flooding your home with God, that is going to work, whether you understand it, whether you feel it or not, because your intention is to flood your home with God, recognizing you are a being of God. So, does that make sense? You have to just do it, even if you don't feel it, do it. And it's almost like the fastest way to shift this is with your feelings. So, it's again what we talked about today. Even if you are still making a choice that is hurtful, you are doing it with more awareness, and that develops more compassion. It's okay. It's okay. If in your victim conscious state, if that person or whatever the circumstances are, it's like they're being nasty to me, it's okay. You can't control them, but you can control how you show up. You have your anger response. It's okay. It's okay that you got angry. Start to have that level of compassion for yourself, and it will start to slowly shift. What you're trying to shift towards is taking responsibility for how you're showing up. So it's almost like all of the entities and all of the dark forces and all of the things around you, whether it, ancestral or karma or whatever it is that you feel like you're up against, it's okay. You're actually free right now. It's just the perception that you're not, if that makes sense. So just let all of it be okay. Let the demon be okay. Be okay with the demon that's there. They can't hurt you more than you allow. So let it be okay. Try that approach. You have to start using the tools. This is one of the things with victim consciousness, because you don't have any power. You don't use your tools. Literally, the tool's in front of you. Pick it up and start using it. No one can do this for you. You can get all the healings in the world, every healing every day from lots of healers. But if you don't change the way you start to show up, if you don't change the way you start to see yourself, you will keep recreating those experiences. That's literally what we just talked about with addiction. That is addiction. So it's just be okay with where you're at. Be okay with the circumstances. Be okay with your landscape, external landscape and innerscape. It's all okay. You are doing the work right now. By listening to all these podcasts, you are doing the work. Be proud of yourself for that. And then find what things you really resonate with. What are the tools that you really love using? What did you feel you gained the most from? And repeat them, even if it's once a week. And then go, you know what? I'm going to try and do that twice next week. Pick your times, make a ritual, and do it again. It's just consistent effort, and it will shift. I promise you it will shift. I hope that helps.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And how to let go of all the vows that I took? How can I do it myself?
Yeah, that one is, anyone can. I do want to say anyone can let go of anything that's within them. You have that much power, you really do. But I also understand when you are up against it, sometimes it is easier for someone to come in and go whoosh whoosh, and then you go, oh wow, I've got more space, and now I can make a different choice. There are, again, you can find a lot of things online. So it's almost like when you are clearing a vow, you are making, again, you want to get into really clear alignment of your truth. You are fighting for you. It's just you against you, really, but you are fighting for you. So you are saying, and with your command, like when I said spell before, like how do we spell a word? Our words are spells. We cast spells. We command with our voice that you relinquish, or whatever the word you feel resonates for whatever you're experiencing. If it is a vow, if you have made a vow, if you have sacrificed yourself, because that's essentially what it is, to a vow, to a belief, or a being or an entity. Again, we have a lot of this with old religious programming and conditioning, where the vows come up is generally where I find them. You are commanding your power back. This vow is null and void. It's done. I'm finished. And you can you use the white flame. You can call in JC or Serapis Bey or the karmic Lord, whoever it is they don't have to go through a special someone. They don't have to go through a healer. They don't have to go through a priest. I nearly said police. You can just be like, hey, Archangel Michael, I need you now, now. And you can be that firm. I need you now. Help me. I want to release this vow. I'm serious this time. I mean it. I'm not joking. I want it gone. And so when you do your process, like, and I would write. So for me, when I've done this before in the past, when I've done it for myself, it was not through a course or anything. I just did this on my own. I spent time to write, what is it that I really want to let go of? If I think I've got a vow, what have I got a vow of? And actually, when I did this work, I got really angry. I got angry at myself, but I got angry at all the beings that helped do this. And then I was like, but I had to take responsibility for it. I did it. Even if I was tricked into it, I still did it. So I had to take responsibility for that. And then I command all my beings in who were on my side, aligned to divinity and my journey, my love, my light, who were here to help me in alignment with me. Because not everybody is like, just because they're love and light doesn't mean they're actually like, you want your team who are committed to your growth and your love, who love you unconditionally. So call them in. Again, you don't need to know them by name. Just demand that they come in, because they will. They're already there, but you're bringing them in closer for your consciousness. And then be like, all right, let's do this. And at the end of it, you can actually say, if any aspect of me calls this back in, don't let me have it. Take it away. Don't give it to me. And it will work. Again, I know this because I had to do it myself, and it wouldn't. So the thought, I'd reach for the thought, and then it would bounce away. I'd be like, okay, yep, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'd go back to maintaining what I was trying to achieve. And I had to do this lots. There was nothing. I know I've given examples where I was like, I did it once and boom. But that was after many, 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 many times of doing it. So I kept chipping away at the frequency until it sort of dissipated enough. So keep going, keep doing. You are doing well. You are doing great. You are doing all the things you are actually doing. Even though you think you're stuck in victim consciousness, you are doing, you are taking action. So be proud of that. Acknowledge that. Appreciate that within yourself, that you are trying and you are doing and you are making headway, whether you feel it right now or not.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you, Tatiana. And thank you very much, Sarah, for the guidance. I'm not sure if you have maybe a few minutes.
Yeah,
to
I've
take
got
one
another
more
one. I've got
question.
time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Ria, can you please unmute yourself? Hello,
She's got a message,
Ria.
I think. Message has come up.
Yeah.
So I will read the message. I had issues with the worry addiction. There has been a lot of work around this, and do you think see at least some level of healing in my energetic space?
Sorry,
Sarah, you
I
are
got kicked.
muted. Okay, I thought I was interrupted.
What was Ria's question? Oh, issues.
I had issues with worry addiction. There has been a lot of work around this, and do you think see at least some level of healing in my energetic space?
Yeah, definitely. Yes, worry can definitely be another aspect of addiction. But the funny thing with worry is that it can also be a learned form of love. And it's really old. And it's something a lot of mothers do. I don't know whether you're a mother or not, but yeah, there's a weird flip on the vibration of worry. As an aspect of love. Of course, it's not like it comes from fear. Yeah, come from the mother. Yeah. Compassion is going to be one of the fastest dissolvents of worry and trust. So, I would definitely sit with I mean, in answer to your original question, like, is there some level of healing in your energetic space? Yes, definitely. And my advice would be to lean into the compassion for your mother and that lineage that have learned that this is an aspect of love to worry. But really what the worry does is it actually just projects negative energy. It is not helpful in any capacity. It's fear-based. And even though it's done, again, it's sort of done with good intentions because it's an aspect of love, it's a bit of a, it's not helpful. And also too, it's draining. It's very draining. It keeps your energy in a very low vibrational state. So understanding the programming and the conditioning of this and that it's not yours, and the fact that it's on your radar, it's in your consciousness, you know that it's out of alignment. You know this is not your truth. It's a learned behavior and it's something that's been conditioned into you through cultural and ancestral and all the rest of it. So compassion is the first piece. Compassion is like, it's okay that it's there. It's, I understand where it's come from, and I understand that there is an intention of love behind it, but no. And then you come into like, what does this look like for you? What does love look like for you? What is love? How is that expressed? How is that shared? How do you project love? How do you share your love? How do you want to receive it? And trust is the next piece. So love is staying in body and peace for me. Yeah, the throat is getting really triggered. So you've got something around the throat chakra. I would actually explore it more. I think staying in the body and peace, there's more there. Let's just have a quick look. So I'm going straight to the trust aspect and all is well. When you come into that really nice alignment, everything is taken care of. The protection piece is what's missing. And, I'm a believer of, I've done, many years ago, I learned lots of things in how we can protect ourselves. And sometimes there's certain tools and things that we can do that is actually absolutely required. But generally, my truth is like the more you come into the light and embody your light, that is all the protection you need. You are taken care of, and that has worked every time. It's like you're ushered in this direction, and then you moved in this direction, and you just constantly in alignment of your light, and everything is taken care of. And that can be triggering for people who don't live in that way because they're like, "What are you doing?" I might be walking towards the cliff, and I'm like, "Oh, but it's such a lovely day." Cliff, and it's like, it's totally fine. What are you freaking out about? Like, so that's their projection of their worry, and I'm trusting I'm having this amazing experience and seeing all of these stunning views, knowing I'm totally protected the whole time. So this is I would say, looking at the compassion and developing trust within yourself. Healing, there's some ancestral healing that needs to be done there, like removing those frequencies, the coding and the programming from your ancestral lineage, from your mum. It goes further back, like, it goes quite far back, but I would say do some exploration around the beliefs that you have of love. What is love? How is love expressed? What's your relationship to love? How do you love others? How do you want to be loved? What is freedom in love? Like, what does that look like? Because there's no freedom in worry and fear. So there's a whole aspect that's untapped for you that you are still yet to explore within yourself that you want to move into and align with. And when you sort of anchor yourself in that space, you don't need to you don't need to fix anything. You don't need to conquer the worry or, you coming into alignment, and everything else just lets go, because you're learning what is your authentic truth? How do you want to show up and experience life? But the trust is the biggest piece with worry. You want to swap out worry for trust. And that, again, I think I've mentioned it before. It's like, even if you don't feel it, you have to choose it. It's like, I'm trusting that everything is okay. Even as I say that, I can feel as soon as you let go, your belief is like, attack. Like, that part of you underneath is like, but I'm going to get attacked. And as soon as I go, I'm safe. So do some, I would say definitely do some subconscious work there, like finding some tools that you can use I think there's a couple on my website around I am safe. And that's going to help you cultivate trust on a subconscious level, so you don't cut yourself out at the knees as soon as you try to open up into trust. Because if we don't bring our subconsciousness with us, that's pretty much what will happen. The subconsciousness will, and the trauma that's there will undermine you, regardless of what you're consciously aligned to. So this is why those two aspects really do need to come together to unify in your wholeness, that you are safe, that you are loved, that you are trust, and that you do trust, and everything always works out for you. It's a big one to move through, because I actually have that in my family lineage as well, worry. I was lucky enough to come in with a different level of consciousness that I just didn't buy into it. I was just looking at these people going, what the fuck is your problem? Like, why are you so worried? Why? I don't understand why you're doing that. So I was a mirror that was probably triggering for them. But yeah, that's again because I will have moved through it. I'm not devoid of that, and I've seen it, and it's in my lineage as well. So yeah, I hope that helps.
Shared thanks a ton, Sarah and Monsef. You both are inspiring, and also shared awesome tips on trust. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Ria, and thank you also, Sarah, for the guidance. Yeah, and thank you for everything you shared. It was quite inspiring, powerful call, so I really loved it. And thank you for the meditation, the guidance you gave to our callers, and also for being available through the one-on-one session. So thank you again.
Thank you for having me. And thank you to the audience. Thank you to everyone who's listening live and on the replay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for being here with us today, whether on the live call or the replay. Thank you for your presence, sharing with us your energies. And yeah, Anna, Charlotte, thank you. Great session. Valerie, thank you. And yeah, so again, I invite you to sign up for the program that Sarah is offering, which include 30-minute one-on-one session and subliminal meditation, which is I Am Divinity. And the link again is yourdivineuniqueness.com/Sarah, yourdivineuniqueness.com/Sarah11, sorry. SARAH and number 11. Or you can click on the special offer button, which is on the live events page, later on the replay page. The link also on YouTube video description, and I will put it on the chat boxes on YouTube and Zoom. Kim Short, thank you. Narel, thank you. Asha, thank you. Tatiana, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you everyone. And I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you on the next episode. Bye for now.